So recently there's been a couple of issues that came up at the same time. So first of all, the Colt thing came up, or maybe that wasn't first. I think maybe my car with the Boogaloo sticker might have been first. But around the same time, there's this Colt that came to Hawaii. And they all happened to be black people. And they broke quarantine and everybody lost their shit. Like they believed this quarantine thing or whatever. You know, like what about the flu season that killed 575 people in Hawaii last year? Ain't locking down for that. These people are stupid who are into this stupid quarantine thing and snitching on their neighbors. But that's the least of the worries right now for me, at least in this video. So I had a sticker in the back of my car that had the list of 11 names that have been killed by police. 7 were black, 3 were white, 1 was Hispanic. And it was to honor those people and to also make people think about what's actually going on here. It's not just a black or white or brown thing. This is just a humanity thing, and we need to stand up for all lives, right? That was my point. And next to it, I had a sticker that said Boogaloo with a AR-15 next to it. And that's about having Second Amendment rights. It has nothing to do with anything else. I'm not racist. I have anti-racist tattoos on my body. You know, I've got a group, if you look it up on Facebook, it's called SPEAR, and it stands for Skins and Punks Everywhere Against Racism. It's a group I started when I was 17. In fact, I got tattoos all over my body. You'll see this one I got, I guess I might have been 16 because that's what tattoo I got when I was 16. I got one on my chest up here. It says the same thing. So Skins and Punks Everywhere Against Racism. All these people that are like, oh, Boogaloo is white supremacist, Boogaloo is white supremacist. Clearly all they've done is gone to Wikipedia and stopped searching. They don't know shit. They don't know how to do research. They haven't learned how to do, proper investigations on things. They just go to Wikipedia for some confirmation bias and they're settled on it. And so, no, it's not a racist thing. If you look up the pictures of the people that are resharing this meme, it's not even a group, it's a meme. They're black, white, brown, whatever, Asian. They're not like any specific color. Just like the Proud Boys. You look at the Proud Boys, like one of their most famous Proud Boys is a Samoan dude named Tiny, right? Bunch of Polynesian guys. It's pretty big here in Hawaii, but they all say it's white supremacist, So that's what they were saying about my car. They posted it all over Facebook, on Big Island Video News, Big Island Thieves, or not Big Island Video News, sorry. Big Island Thieves, Big Island Popo Alert, a bunch of others. And they were posting, pictures of my car and saying that it was a white supremacist symbol. Like they couldn't see that the names on my vehicle right next to that sticker were of all different colors in honor of those people who died at the hands of police. So then they're like, oh, it's anti-government, it's anti-government. No, it's just pro-Second Amendment. It's pro, unalienable rights. The Bill of Rights includes the right to own guns. And the fact that, police don't respond properly and they have such little, amounts of training, 22 weeks is what it takes to get through police academy. So that's why they end up killing people. They don't know what to do in a violent situation. They don't know how to de-escalate. They're not trained in, violence and mitigation. They're trained to basically, respond emotionally. That's just how they've been raised and that's how they react. Without the proper training, people lose their lives. Now, it's a smidgen of people who actually lose their lives due to police violence. 995 people a year is 0.0003% of the population. So compared to how many police lose their lives, I mean, it's pretty close. So I would say that the hysteria and the burning down of cities and the riots and all that is crazy. So anyway, the fact that these people, started claiming that Boogaloo thing was white supremacist, and then they started saying that I was a white supremacist, and, they have no, real facts about it, and they don't realize that the names in the car window are of all colors. They're not just white, and they're not just black, they're not just brown, they're all colors. And that's what the picture they've been sharing is of all of these names right next to an AR-15. So then this carbonation thing, happened. This guy, Nature Boy, comes to Hawaii with his group of cult members, and they broke quarantine, and he had an Instagram live to talk to people about it, so that they could discuss it. And there was one guy that went off and started calling him the N-word, N-word this, N-word that, N-word this. And then if you look at the Instagram comments, like 50 different people were saying the same thing about him. N-word this, N-word that, and exposing the racism that goes on here in Hawaii. And that's something that I've been working on since I've gotten here. I mean, the first time I spoke up about it was years ago at the Jennifer Ruggles town hall meeting back in like 2018. Well, I've had radio shows before that about it, but you know, the first time I came out in public and addressed the sovereignty movement that's highly racially based and DNA based and heritage based and all this, is when I went to the Jennifer Ruggles town hall meeting September, I think it was 28th of 2018. And you know, then because I resisted the racism of the sovereignty movement, I was called a racist this, racist that, racist this. You know, and the whole time, you know, these people are very hard on Micronesians. These people are very hard on what they call haoles or foreigners, very hard on them, right? And so it's like they're pointing out a speck in their brother's eye while they've got a plank in their own. So then, you know, after all of this stuff with the Boogaloo sticker and all the doxing and them sharing the address of my family and where my kids live and posting our, you know, pictures of our home, you know, telling people to go throw us down a lava tube and kill us and all this and that. You know, after all of that, I find out how racist they are. It's easy, it's exposed because there are so many people, you know, just freely using the N-word at these cult members. And I expose that and I show, you know, what happened with these cult members and how, you know, they didn't make it about the quarantine. They made it about their race. They made it about, you know, the N-word, right? Many of them, dozens and dozens of them, local guys, you know, Kanaka Maoli people, calling out these cult members with racist epithets. So then I talk about the SPLC, and, you know, even though the SPLC is usually not, you know, in the corner of white people who are having racial violence sent their way, in the SPLC's article about Hawaii, they address that. They talk about how, you know, they talk about Kill Haole Day, which is a day at the end of the year of school that school kids, you know, in masses go out and beat up white kids. And that's been a tradition for decades and decades. The SPLC talks about, you know, all of the U.S. Department of Justice, how they address these issues of racism in the schools and racial violence and things like that against white people. And the SPLC is usually just for minorities. They only typically address issues for black and brown people. But in this case, they addressed it for Hawaii, showing that Hawaii is very racist towards white people. Hawaiian locals, Kanaka Maoli, ethnically Hawaiian people, you know, have a tendency to be very racist to white people. They talked about a case at Kamehameha schools where, you know, a kid was accepted into Kamehameha schools. He had a Hawaiian name, Kalani was his name. He was born here, but he was Caucasian, 100%. And when he got to school, they realized, oh, this guy's a Caucasian, and they kicked him out. And so instead of litigating it in court, they just settled for $7 million, right? And so, sorry, I'm getting tons of Facebook messages. I forgot to mute it. Anyway, so that was my point, is that while you're out there pointing out this Boogaloo thing, saying that it's racist incorrectly, you know, just some knee-jerk reaction to a Wikipedia article, and then they posted a guy who was Hispanic who killed cops, who said that he was Boogaloo Boy or something. Well, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way to get a membership into this Boogaloo Boy thing. It's not a thing. It's not an organization. There's no membership. It's a meme. It's a silly ass meme, and it means different things to different people. So anyway, I guess this Hispanic guy shot at a couple of cops or killed a cop or something like that. And so he had shared a meme on his Facebook that said Boogaloo or something. And so they associate him and make it out to be some gang or some, you know, organization when it's clearly not. So I just turned the tables on them with this whole carbonation thing, showing exactly how racist they are. And they don't like that. It's like, ooh, yeah, that's not us. We're not racist. You know, don't say that about us. You know, Kamehameha Schools isn't racist. Yeah, right. They don't accept anybody who isn't ethnically Hawaiian, right? So that's racism. That's a violation of the 14th Amendment. But they're like, oh, no, we're not racist. We're not racist. Yeah, it sucks when the tables are turned on you, doesn't it? When you get exposed for being racist, or your community gets exposed for being racist. Don't throw rocks in a glass house, bro. That's all I gotta say. I ain't racist. My kids and wife are Native American. I got anti-racist tattoos all over me. You're full of shit if you're gonna try to paint me out to be a racist, to disparage me, or to ruin my reputation. It ain't gonna work. You're full of shit. And you gotta look at your own self before you start pointing out faults in other people. You know, this racism that's been going on in Hawaii has been going on for decades and decades. And it's not just me talking about it. It's, you know, bigger groups that are fighting for social justice, like the SPLC and the Anti-Defamation League. You know, and I seen a statistic recently. They did a survey on hate crimes, and Hawaii ranks 5 out of 50 states for racism. So, you know, there's 45 other states that are below Hawaii for racism. Y'all got to clean your act up if you're going to start pointing at me and saying I'm a racist. I'm not a racist. I stand against racism, and that's why I don't like this whole genetic ownership and this whole genetic entitlement and this DNA makes me better thing. I don't think that's right. I don't think it's accurate for anybody, because we're one race, and that's human. And ethnicity is bullshit. And the people that are like, oh, well, Hawaiians are indigenous to Hawaii, that's bullshit too. Hawaiians didn't start out here. Kanaka Maoli didn't start out in Hawaii. Kanaka Maoli started out in Tahiti 900 to 1,000 years ago, and they came here to Hawaii at that time. I mean, they'd been in Tahiti for a while, and then they came to Hawaii 900 to 1,000 years ago. This is not even disputable science. This is fact of the matter. And they found the people that were here. The people were called the Mu people. And they conquered the Mu people, they stole their land, and they enslaved them. And you can look up the Hawaiian word for slave, and that's what these people were called. The Mu people, after they were enslaved, were called Kuva, or K-A-U-W-A. However you want to pronounce that. People say it's pronounced in different ways, but it's spelled K-A-U-W-A. If you look that up, that's a word that existed in Hawaii before any Caucasian came, and the word meant slave. And the slaves were the Mu people. And the Mu people were the original owners of this land. They were the ones that were here first, before the Kanaka Maoli. So before you start pointing fingers, look at your own history. You don't have a spotless history either. And my ancestors didn't do shit to anybody here in Polynesia. My ancestors, nor did I, do anything to anybody here. Now, just because you don't like foreigners, that's not my problem, that's your problem. You need to address that and start working on your own demons before you start trying to work on mine.